The NHL on Fox. The Chicago Blackhawks take on top scorer Mario Lemieux and the Penguins.
Saturday at 1, first on Fox 13.
Live from Fox Studios in Salt Lake, this is Fox News at 9.
Tonight, Ogden police officers are injured chasing a suspect. A shooting takes the life of a Lehigh boy. What the restaurants don't want you to see. And floodwaters continue to creep into Oregon. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Hope Woodside. First on Fox, a frightening radio call in Ogden tonight. 2 officers down. Now Ogden police officers are huddled in the hospital waiting for word on their comrades. Fox's Scott McGrew has the details from Ogden.
The news went out over police radios. The latest word from McKay-D Hospital, they're going to be all right. It happened here at 27th and Wall in South Ogden. A suspect fleeing police jumped into this white pickup truck and told the owner to drive. Now, the driver didn't go far. He jumped out. So the bad guy jumped out too. The officers in pursuit, Detective Ralph Cragen, a 27-year veteran, driving that white unmarked Ford, and Officer Art Wheeloth, driving that patrol car, began to chase on foot. And that's when disaster struck.
The 2 pursuing officers jumped out to chase the 3rd suspect, and at this time one of our own police cars ran over all 3 people. The 2 officers and the suspect was hit by one of our police cars.
The police have marked off everything very carefully. They're going to study this scene so they can figure out what went wrong so it never happens again. On the ground here, you can see the marks RC for Ralph Cragen. Over here, SUSP for suspect. And then in the distance, Art for Art Wheeloth. All of them marked in the places they fell.
You can all see the crime scene here. We got the truck sitting here. Truck's in motion. Guys are jumping out of it. Police cars are chasing there. They're coming to help, and it all happens at one time. He wasn't expecting the officers to jump out of the car or the suspect. He's already in motion getting here and just could not stop for him.
The driver who hit the officers and the suspect is okay, but understandably shaken.
He's very upset, and we're going to release him from duty tonight after we take his statement. He feels real bad, and he's not in good shape psychologically like this time. Luckily, our officers are going to make it, and they're not hurt that bad.
Fellow officers are relieved to hear that. They say this is a very unusual case. It's never happened before. But said one officer with a shrug, that's police work. In Ogden, Scott McGrew, Fox 13 News.
Officer Wheeloth was treated and released. Detective Cragen suffered broken bones, but he's all right. He's in stable condition. The suspect, 36-year-old David Tyndall of Ogden, is out of the hospital and in jail. He was out on parole from Utah State Prison, where he had done time for drug dealing. Further charges against him are now pending.
A 13-year-old Lehigh boy is dead tonight after what police believe was an accidental shooting. Chip Giles was shot in the chest at this Lehigh trailer home. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. Police say a 12-year-old boy who lives in the mobile home accidentally shot Giles. An Alpine police officer who lives next door was one of the first to arrive on the scene.
I hear stuff all the time that sounds like a gunshot, and I didn't think much of it until I heard the sirens come in here. So I came out, and one of the officers advised me that the 911 call came in as somebody had been shot. So
police found 2 firearms on the bed, a revolver and a semi-automatic pistol. We'll have more on this story later on in this newscast.
4 out of 5 people allegedly involved in the murder of a Salt Lake mother have been located and or arrested. Jose Armento Corrales was cuffed Wednesday and 2 teenage girls arrested last night. Today, police interviewed a 12-year-old boy about the shooting. Diane Perper, a mother of 5, was shot while driving near the on-ramp of I-15 Saturday night. Now, the person police say is missing, the gunman. So far, 25-year-old Manuelo Valenzuela has eluded capture.
We still don't have any other information on him. We're just hoping that somebody might help us out in the public again, that his picture's been on the news, and maybe somebody from the public will call in and help us track him down, give us a good lead on him.
On Monday, police will meet with the district attorney's office. Then they'll decide if charges will be filed on any of the 4 suspects.
The man Salt Lake Police think shot and killed Diane Perper is an illegal alien, and that has sparked some concern by police and Latino Americans about what needs to be done about the problem of undocumented aliens. Fox's Robin McLean explains what has both sides worried.
All you have to do is look at the pictures of Pioneer Park's past to understand the problem. For years, drug dealers have claimed it, and many of those dealers are undocumented aliens, according to police.
Not only has the city seen it in Pioneer Park, but we've seen it in numerous other narcotics investigations as well. So, of course, this brings some concern to the sheriff, who thinks that we need to take a real close look at managing this particular phenomenon in our crime problem.
Last year, 50% of the crimes in Salt Lake City were committed by undocumented aliens. That's a percentage the Latino community in Salt Lake wants to help lower.
You usually commit crimes on the people you know best, and so like on one hand, it's not that we want to distance, but by knowing them better, we know their habits, and we can also, by working with the police, we can let them know this person, and we will turn these people in.
But Manuel Romero says to help lower that number, they first need respect from police, beginning with calling these criminals undocumented aliens and not illegal aliens. He says they're not extraterrestrials.
Tends to put a real negative tone or a negative image on the Latino community, primarily people who have not had the exposure to people from our community.
And the majority of those people are hardworking citizens, but police say the problem with undocumented aliens is reality. Last July, police say Denise Lovato was killed by her husband, an undocumented alien. Police suspect Manuel Salcido has vanished to Mexico. Mexico is where police think they'll also find Manuelo Valenzuela. They think he shot Diane Perper last weekend.
When they've committed a really serious crime, they can pretty much disappear, and it's very hard from then on for us to get a hold of them.
Until there's more jail space to hold all criminals, police expect the problems to continue. In Salt Lake, Robin McLean, Fox 13 News.
Salt Lake City police say they are working hard to keep people who buy the drugs off the streets. They've had a lot of success at Pioneer Park, posing as drug dealers and then arresting the buyers.
6 people are dead, a 7th hospitalized after a pre-dawn shooting spree in Florida. Police say the gunman, Clifton McCree, opened fire on a group of Fort Lauderdale City workers getting ready to clean the beach. Then McCree shot and killed himself. One worker told a local television station McCree had been fired months ago for failing a drug test.
He had jumped on a lot of employees before.
He seemed to have a violent nature?
Right, well, he was towards white people. That was his main problem, yeah. We thought everybody was out to get him, that was just paranoia, I guess.
All 5 shooting victims are men. All were shot in the head.
235 people were injured in a commuter train crash this morning in New Jersey. The collision between 2 trains killed 3 people, 2 engineers and a passenger. 16 of the injured are seriously hurt. One of the trains went past a stop signal and collided with the other train going in the opposite direction. Investigators say it's too early to determine whether human error or mechanical failure is to blame. It happened just across the Hudson River from New York City. Most of the passengers were on their way to work.
After the impact, the train didn't stop, and you didn't know what was going to happen. You thought maybe the worst was yet to come, or you were going to go flip off the track because it kept going.
Investigators are trying to retrieve the black boxes from each train to give them clues about the train's speeds and braking.
All clues seem to point to the Irish Republican Army following a bomb blast that shook London's East End Friday evening. The blast damaged office buildings in the city's trendy Docklands area. At least 34 people were injured from flying glass and debris. As Ross Appleyard reports, the blast came 1 hour after the IRA ended its 18-month ceasefire.
We are therefore entering into a new situation in a spirit of determination and confidence.
Minutes after this chilling statement was phoned to Irish television, a massive blast rocked London's Docklands. At least 6 people have been seriously hurt and over 100 are wounded. 3 policemen were among those slightly injured. It's thought a fractured gas main caused a second explosion just after the detonation in an underground car park. Eyewitnesses spoke of a huge explosion which blew out windows and shook buildings. Hundreds of people who work in the Canary Wharf area were caught up in the blast. Casualties were ferried by fleets of ambulances to the Royal London Hospital as police officers tried to work out exactly what had happened.
We've had a number of calls about secondary devices. We have so far cleared all those calls. Now, that doesn't mean to say we won't get any more, but we've cleared all the ones we have. The point I want to make to you at the moment is that all the agencies are cooperating here to clear this matter as quickly as we can and to make sure that the place is as safe as possible for people to return to.
Politicians of all parties were swift to condemn the attack.
This is a sickening, an appalling act. It has no justification whatever. I believe that Sinn Féin should condemn it and condemn it utterly if they're serious about the peace process. And this is a moment in time when I believe that all political parties and all the political leaders will stay together and work together to make sure that we put the peace process back on track, because that is the only secure future for the people of Northern Ireland and indeed for the people of the mainland of Britain.
It's not yet known whether tonight's bomb was a resumption of terrorism by mainstream IRA or by a splinter group. Either way, it represents a massive blow to the peace process. Ross Appleyard, Sky News.
Evacuations continue in the Northwest, where floodwaters are taking over streets, homes, and even dog houses. This little four-footed pal had to be whisked away in a life raft when floodwaters took over his home in Portland. The poodle looked a little confused, but nonetheless cute in his life preserver. You don't see a doggy life preserver every day.
No, it did look cute.
Hey, plenty of hazy sunshine around here today.
And you can see the snow melting before your eyes. Henry Stone has tonight's First on Fox weather. Henry?
Yes, you're absolutely correct, Hope. Don't need any life preservers either out there because we don't have any rain in our forecast for the next couple of days. In fact, mostly warm and some afternoon hazy skies is pretty much what's going to be in our forecast right through the weekend. Temperatures a little bit warmer than what we were seeing last night. Why? Well, there's a few more clouds out there, and that's why we're seeing temperatures through the upper 30s throughout most of the northern portion of the state. 32 in Provo. Right now, 36 degrees in Salt Lake City. Cedar City at 49, 58 in St. George. And Page, Arizona checks in at 50 degrees. Blanding currently not reporting, but last hour we did have a report that said Blanding was about 44 degrees. So warmer temperatures, and they'll probably be a pretty comfortable night with those clouds out there. I have the full weekend update coming up in just a bit.
All right, Henry, thank you.
There isn't much boating going on at Utah Lakes this time of year.
That's right. But there is a lot of boating going on indoors at the 31st Annual Utah Boat Show. The very latest in fine boating equipment and accessories fill the 140,000-square-foot exhibition floor at the Salt Palace. $6 million worth of bass boats, ski boats, cruisers, family pleasure boats, houseboats, pontoons, yachts, speedboats, drift boats, and all manner of watercraft. You can also go fishing in the live-action Utah Trout Stream. The boat show runs through this Sunday.
This is Fox News at 9. With Evans, Woodside, Stone, and Runge, first on Fox.
And still ahead, first on Fox, the risk you take when you take out. Dirty little secrets of Salt Lake restaurants.
But next, floodwaters trigger mudslides in Oregon. Thousands are out of their homes.
It's official. Baltimore gets an NFL team, but Cleveland will have one too. We'll have details. Mailman may or may not deliver to San Antonio this weekend some top 25 women's basketball action, some seniors golf. And after leading his team to within one game of going to the Super Bowl, this coach is looking for a new job. More Fox 13 news, weather, and sports coming up in 60 seconds.
Deep in space, a mysterious force attacks.
What the hell did we hit? I don't know.
Sending John Hurd and Annette O'Toole into a deadly abyss.
Then where the hell did the stars go?
But they're not alone.
I'm getting unusual energy readings on Deck 2, Section 4.
Lasers go right through them. You can't kill these things.
Of course not, dummy. They're already dead. We all are. And a haunting vision holds the key to their survival.
Fire engines!
Next time on The Outer Limits.
Saturday at 4, first on Fox 13.
It's February, and our 48-hour sale just might perk up your winter routine. This Saturday and Sunday only, save 20 to 40% on everything, from sofas to bedrooms, dining rooms to mattresses. You'll find great name brands like Stanley, Broyhill, Sealy, and more. Plus, get 0% finance charge for 6 months. No money down, no payments till August. So brighten up your February at the 48-hour sale, the home life furniture store from Sears. It's everything you need to bring your home to life.
Flooding in the northwestern United States has hit Oregon the hardest, but the misery spread further into Washington state today. Mudslides closed highways and destroyed homes. At least 20,000 people have been evacuated in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana. Chuck Coppola reports.
For the first time in 5 days, the sun broke through skies in the northwest Friday. And the swollen Willamette River was expected to crest within inches of flooding downtown Portland.
Yesterday morning at this time, I was pretty skeptical about whether or not we could get this wall in place, but the people really showed up yesterday, and that made the difference.
But the danger wasn't lifting, just shifting. At Oregon City, the Columbia River crested 17 feet above flood stage. Along the Oregon coast, river levees through the community of Tillamook broke overnight, raising floodwaters to 7 feet. In the last 4 days, Tillamook has gotten more than 13 inches of rain, and at least 1,500 dairy cattle have died in the swirling floodwaters. In Oregon, 700 roads are closed or partially blocked. Mudslides have closed Interstate 5 in Oregon, and another mudslide has closed it between Portland and Seattle. A man in his 50s was killed near Kent, Washington, when the car he was driving fell into a sinkhole 50 feet wide and 20 feet deep. A second car fell in behind the first, but the driver was pulled to safety by a passerby. In Eugene, Oregon, many people began returning to mud-filled homes Friday. 1,500 people were evacuated at the height of the flood. The first people allowed back found damage not only from mud, but also logs and other debris floating downstream. The flooding happened when warm tropical rains followed a heavy snowfall last week. People in the Northwest are due for a break and may get one. Fair skies are predicted for the next several days. Chuck Coppola for CNN, Portland, Oregon.
Some say getting pictures of flooding as it happens is easy compared to catching another kind of natural disaster as it happens. That and more as Bob Schildmeyer checks out our World in a Minute.
In the most serious threat yet to Bosnia's shaky peace, the Serbs cut contacts with NATO, totally disrupting prisoner exchanges and troop withdrawals. At a memorial service in Germany, the first American peacekeeper killed in Bosnia, being remembered by family and friends as the kind of leader every young soldier wants. In hopes of solving the mystery of why a charter airliner crashed off the Dominican Republic, the Navy bringing in high-tech gear to search the ocean floor for the plane's flight recorders. The pilots of two small planes survive a mid-air collision over Ramona, California. Both planes make safe emergency landings. Just released today, this home video taken as a deadly earthquake rocked southwest China over the weekend, causing at least $500 million damage. Preaching peace and reconciliation, Pope John Paul's Latin American tour moves to Venezuela, where the Catholic Church is challenged by poverty and Protestant churches. Downtown Las Vegas spends $70 million to regain its Glitter Gulch reputation. The money paid for a big light show, the Buffalo Run, and dancing in the street. And finally, there's a new scientific reason to give your Valentine chocolate. A new study says chocolate releases chemicals that make us feel loved and boost our alertness. And that's World in a Minute.
Making headlines in business news tonight, how annoying is it to check into a hotel on a business trip and find out your host is geared more toward guests getting a tan than getting any work done? Fox's John Rowland checks into some business-friendly hotels in tonight's Fox Business Report.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Hotels are catering to the business traveler more than ever before.
And I can't wait to get on the road again.
The pressure is especially strong on the national chains like Marriott. They have a program called The Room That Works. A lot of the hotels are opening business centers like this one where you can sit down, log on, and call out. At the Sheraton Towers in New York, they're ripping out hundreds of rooms and modifying them for business travelers. All of these rooms will have multi-function units that print, fax, and photocopy. Just hook up your laptop. On the Sheraton Club floor, they have a special desk for check-in, so you don't have to hang out at the front desk waiting to get someone's attention. Upstairs from that floor is a step up in service. They even have a butler. Well, his name isn't Jeeves, but he will do everything for you, from ironing to faxing. Suites have cordless phones, so you can keep talking while answering the door.
When it's a first-time reservation, invariably the question is, do you have a health club?
Joseph Spinato is the president of New York's Hotel Association. His organization just completed a survey of business travelers. He says in the past few years, there has been a tremendous increase in the number of female business travelers.
Female travelers, understandably, are a lot more concerned for security. I believe our hotels provide that extra measure of security for the female traveler.
Also, the front desk may soon be a thing of the past at many hotels. It'll be replaced by cyber clerks. They work sort of like an ATM. Put in your credit card and out comes a room key. I'm John Rowland with the Fox Business Report.
Huh? The head coach's position with the Indianapolis Colts became vacant today after Ted Marchibroda reportedly resigned. Ted Marchibroda Jr., who's his father's agent, says his dad will not return as the Colts head coach next season after he turned down a one-year contract extension with the same salary as last season. Senior Marchibroda, who took the Colts to the AFC Championship game last season, had been seeking a two-year deal with an increase in salary, but that was rejected by Colts Director of Football Operations, Bill Tobin. In two stints as a Colts head coach, both in Baltimore and in Indianapolis, Marchibroda compiled a 73-71 record. There have been persistent rumors that the Colts job might go to the team's offensive coordinator, Lindy Infante, the former Green Bay coach who was out of football for 3 years before joining the Colts this past season. Jazz's Karl Malone had his sprained finger checked by doctors today. See if he'll be playing in this year's San Antonio NBA All-Star game. Well, he's already being quoted in Texas, making some blunt statements about the trash-talking newer players. So it appears as if Karl will be playing on Sunday. Oh, and I have some scores here. Girls basketball, Skyline over Viewmont. Boys basketball, Davis over Cottonwood. Cypress over Olympus. Bountiful beat Viewmont in overtime. And this one I didn't give last night, but I'm going to give it tonight because I goofed.
Yesterday's news today.
Waterford beat Meridian in last night's game. Oh, another thing. I said that Weber State lost. Yeah. They won. Excuse me, Weber State. Ron Beglin, I'm sorry. It'll never happen again.
Just a bad night. We all have them.
Yeah, it was.
Thanks.
A low-level inversion makes for a dreary day in the valley, but I still saw some sunshine.
Well, yeah, I didn't see as much as you did. Henry Stone has the forecast when we come back. And entertainment reporter Steve Oldfield talks with Dean Martin's son, who makes his home right here in Utah.
Closed captioning for Fox News sponsored by Buse Isuzu, the largest volume Isuzu Trooper dealer in America. Buse Isuzu, exit 291 off I-15 by Point of the Mountain.
He stared eye to eye with 300-pound linemen. He's walked away from some of the hardest hits the NFL could dish out, but nothing in his pro football career could prepare him for this. It's the big one, Mervyn's Super Sale. With the lowest price of the season on some of your favorite brands. Save on all fine jewelry, fashions for your home, and clothing and shoes for your entire family. But hurry.
Now that was a rush.
Mervyn's Super Sale ends Sunday.
You already know the people of Intermountain Healthcare because we're your neighbors, your family, your friends. We're the employees who have always stood by you. In the hospitals, the clinics, in the community. We're the 2,200 affiliated doctors who have always been there, improving life, saving life, and bringing life into the world. And we're the people that offer you the health plans that bring you the flexibility and the security you need most. We're all a part of your life, and we're all working together to help make everyone's lives better, because that's what it's all about. We're doctors, hospitals, and health plans working together for you.
Tonight's weather is brought to you by Wendy's Old-Fashioned Hamburger Restaurants.
Dave has a dilemma. What to put on Wendy's new bacon cheeseburger?
Dave, something mild. Play it safe. Come on, don't be a wimp. Give it some zing. Oh no, Gouda would be nice. Spice it up. How about pepper jack? Oh my.
Well, Dave started cooking. A quarter pound of fresh beef, 3 strips of bacon, the perfect sauce, and a slice of pepper jack cheese for a bacon cheeseburger that's really spicy.
Oh, Dave, be careful. Mind your own business. Attaboy.
Wendy's new pepper jack bacon cheeseburger.
It's gotta be the cheese.
2 weeks from tonight, one of the most successful musical groups of all time will be right here in Utah to help with a great cause, the Blue Cross Blue Shield Caring Program for Children.
It helps parents pay for medical insurance for children who desperately need it. And the Beach Boys will be performing here thanks to the efforts of one Utah couple, the late Dean Martin's son, Ricky, and his wife, Annie.
Entertainment reporter Steve Oldfield visited with them at their home in Woodland. He says Ricky is carrying on two traditions he learned from his father: volunteerism and music.
When you hear Ricky Martin's music, you'd think he had an entire symphony working with him, but he's creating all the songs with a keyboard and computer in a studio he built right here in the mountains of Utah. But he says he's not alone. He knows his father's here too.
My music is different, obviously, and that will stand for itself. Other than that, I've picked up every hint that I have, that I can from the man and his life, because I admired it so much.
While Ricky's in a great secluded place for getting inspired, he's had plenty of distractions too.
Anyone who has two children know that inspiration, you know, when you got, a trash can full of diapers. But at the same while, that's part and parcel to the surroundings, is my new family. And the family comes first to me.
And that's why Ricky and Annie feel so strongly about the Caring Program for Children, and why they pulled some strings to bring in the Beach Boys.
Carl Wilson of the Beach Boys is my brother-in-law, besides being a very dear friend. And it's as easy as picking up the phone, I kid you. But we got the guys coming, and we're very excited about that.
And the great thing about this event is that there's a lot that's going on even before they take the stage, isn't there?
That's correct. It's February 23rd, Friday evening. It starts at 6 o'clock, and the $100 tickets entitles you to schmooze around and rub, elbows with the Beach Boys, have a great time.
Annie and Ricky had many great times with one of the great entertainers of our time. And Dean Martin would be proud to know his boy is keeping Dean's very generous spirit alive. Steve Oldfield, Fox 13 News.
We have a number for you to call if you'd like to get tickets for the special pre-concert party, along with some of the best seats in the house for the concert. Here it is, 481-6458. That's 481-6458. And Steve promises it should be a blast. That's what I was told. Henry?
Should be a great weekend for us, too.
Yeah? What do we've got going?
Well, we're going to have warmer temperatures, a little bit more sunshine. If we can get rid of the inversion, we'd really be in luck. But I don't think we're going to get that lucky.
Okay.
Still a lot better than rain and snow and the other stuff that we've been having over the past couple of weeks. Take a look at something you probably don't want to take a look at, if I'm told correctly. Yes, this is what it looked like, but...
That's why I didn't see that much sun today.
That's why you didn't.
I saw some.
We did, because we got in here earlier.
Okay.
Earlier in the day, the sun was out there a little bit more, and the inversion wasn't so dreary, as they say. And well, as the afternoon progressed, we got that inversion, and that inversion will probably be with us through the weekend as well. All right, let's take a look at some numbers. Today, boy, you talk about a day that's right on the mark. Normal for us is 42. That's where we were. Normal low for us is 23. Exactly where we were. Record 61. Set that back in 1951, and 1933 minus 30. Boy, that's a cold one to say the least. Did have some record highs today. Milford for the second straight day, record high 70 degrees, Richfield 68, Cedar City and Delta each tied record highs. Same with Green River at 63, Blanding had 64 for a high today. Bullfrog 61, Monticello at 60, Bryce Canyon 56, and look at Alta, 55 degrees. And I think it'll be a little bit cooler there tomorrow as we bring a little winds into the mountains as well. Tonight, mostly cloudy and some valley fog. That's pretty much been our situation for the past 3 or 4 days. We look for more fog tonight and tomorrow morning, low of 25. Checking out lows elsewhere tonight, look for 27 in Park City, wind over 24 degrees, 29 in Tooele. Head down south, Cedar City, we look for 32, 33 in St. George, Bullfrog 41, and Monticello, we think you're in store for about 23 degrees tonight. Currently 34 at the airport, north at 12 miles per hour, that's your breeze, 30.14. The relative humidity, it's it's holding very steady, and 92% right now is the relative humidity, the barometer, 30.14 and steady. All right, things finally looking a lot better for the Pacific Northwest. As you can see earlier in the day, we did have some moisture that moved in through Oregon and Washington, but as the day progressed, it moved on out, and they will get a break, and we'll bring them some cooler temperatures. That's actually good news, because that will get the snow levels back up to about 3,000 feet, or about 35 to 4,000 feet, so that will help a little bit with the runoff. And aside for some showers through the northern portions of the Great Lakes, a very dry day. In fact, record high temperatures, pretty much the story. Record highs stretching all the way into Colorado Springs and Hill City, Kansas, which had 81 degrees. Thanks to high pressure, that's why we're seeing more sunshine, warmer temperatures, and hopefully we'll see a little bit more of the same as we head into the weekend as well. Tomorrow should be about where we were today. Hopefully we'll see temperatures in the 50s, but for Salt Lake, we look for 46, Park City 41. Delta looks to be pretty nice at 56 degrees. Cedar City, hopefully we'll get to 61 and 68. And St. George may have a little harder time tomorrow getting some record high temperatures down south. Patchy fog still possible tomorrow when you wake up. Partly cloudy skies, look for a wake up temperature of 25 degrees. And tomorrow should look pretty good as we bring in more sunshine. Few clouds out there, but a high maybe 50 if we're lucky. I would say upper 40s pretty much going to be the temperature throughout most of northern Utah, and some breezy canyon winds. And if you're doing some skiing tomorrow, you could hit some windy conditions as well. But I think all things considered, whether you're doing something outdoors, on the slopes, if you're heading down south, doing some mountain biking, you should be greeted with some pretty nice weekend weather.
I'm going to rollerblade tomorrow.
I think you'll be all right. Just stay away from the ice.
Thanks for the warning. We appreciate the warning.
I think it's okay. You can do it.
Thanks, Henry. I'm good, Bob.
I'd like to see it.
I'll rollerblade in here one day.
Yeah, do that. Much more still to come first on Fox at 9:36. We'll see how women can improve the way they feel about their bodies.
At 9:40, Food for Thought looks into restaurants that could make you sick.
And at 9:56, the newly renovated Salt Palace hosts its first event.
But next, an accidental shooting takes the life of a young boy in Lehigh.
Saturday, a drunk wipes out a city block. And sometimes the toughest bad guys are women.
No, I'm not going.
Watch a brand new Cops. Then, they were good friends who pumped iron together.
Good set.
But when they fell for the same woman,
Come back to me. Let me go.
their friendship ended.
Leave Daniel alone. You got that?
In cold-blooded murder.
Saturday night beginning at 7, first on Fox 13.
Learn to ski with me, Hope Woodside. The Fox Ski Clinic, Sunday nights at 9:30 on the Fox Sports page.
At Hagen's Mattress Factory, we have the lowest prices because we are the factory. You can buy this firm mattress or foundation in full, queen, or king for only $129.
Lower.
Okay. 109?
Lower.
Okay. $88.
That's right. $88 each piece for full, queen, or king firm mattress or foundation. Act right now and receive free pillows and free delivery at all Hagen's Mattress Factory locations.
When it comes to dependability and safety for your family, nothing delivers better than Chevy Blazer. Because when there's a detour ahead, Blazer's going to get you through with the easy shift on the fly four-wheel drive. And when there's a reason to stop, really stop, Blazer's going to do it with anti-lock brakes.
And for a short time, there's a GMAC lease that will put your family in the safety of Blazer for just $299 a month for a short 30 months.
So why wait? Visit your Rocky Mountain Chevy Geo dealer soon.
You know that used sports equipment you've got laying around? It's actually a coupon good for reducing your price at Play It Again Sports, because you can trade it in to get the best possible price on used and new gear, like new Aerobic Rider exercise machines from Health Rider.
Play It Again Sports.
A 13-year-old boy is dead following an apparent accidental shooting in Lehigh. As Fox's Joanna Canals reports, it appears the victim and another boy were playing with guns.
The shooting happened at this mobile home in Lehigh, the scene of an apparent gun game in which 13-year-old Chip Giles lost out. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. A 12-year-old boy who lives in the mobile home was the shooter. Police say they found 2 firearms on the bed, a revolver that was loaded and a semi-automatic that wasn't. Alpine Police Officer Jake Smith lives next door. He performed CPR on the boy.
It's just gut-wrenching experience. I didn't like to see it, and I hope I don't have to again.
Officials at Lehigh Junior High say the 12-year-old boy was home on sick leave, but police don't know what Giles was doing out of school. Neighbors are shaken up by the whole ordeal.
But I don't think it was intentionally. I think it was just an accident. He didn't know what he was doing.
Lehigh police spoke with the 12-year-old boy and discovered the guns were locked up, but the youngsters found the keys. An autopsy of Giles is being conducted. Police will continue investigating until they receive the report tomorrow. As of now, police don't think any charges will be filed. Joanna Canals, Fox 13 News.
Gun dealers may soon have to put a safety on each gun they sell. The Senate Transportation and Public Safety Committee has approved a bill that would do just that. Senate President Lane Beatty sponsored the bill as a way to boost gun safety without penalizing gun owners. It passed in committee 4-1 on Wednesday, but a representative of the Utah Shooting Sports Council believes this measure would cost gun owners and jeopardize their safety. And a fight is brewing over the funding of therapy for child sex offenders. This week, the Utah House passed Senate Bill 26. It would increase options in sentencing child sex offenders and do away with minimum mandatory sentences. But the House and Senate disagree on a monetary amount to fund sex offender therapy at the Utah State Prison. The House wants the Senate's proposed $1 million cut by 2/3. At the state capitol tonight, a plea from South Jordan parents. Residents are asking legislators to support funding for a plan that would build a road over a railway crossing. Among those testifying, the parents of 3 teens who died at the crossing New Year's Eve. The plan would cost about $2 million and close the rail intersection.
Tracy Aviary officials are outraged tonight. They say Hogle Zoo has wiped out their funding through a new piece of legislation. Senate Bill 94 would allow more than $13 million to be divided between several different organizations. The money would be available to botanical gardens, cultural organizations, and zoological groups, which until recently meant Tracy Aviary.
Hogle's lobbyists did this by changing the definition of zoo to a definition that only fits and benefits Hogle Zoo. This change intentionally excludes the aviary.
We haven't cut anybody out of anything. Hogle Zoo has fought long and hard negotiating their share of the 0.1% cultural, arts, and recreational facilities sales tax.
Hogle Zoo officials say they have no ill feelings toward the aviary. They say they just have an obligation to protect the money that comes to the zoo.
The Utah Wilderness Association is calling it quits. The group says it was a difficult decision to make, but a necessary one. Besides fighting a constant battle to raise money in the last few years, several key members have stepped down from their positions. Without sufficient fundraising and enough staff, the UWA says it's time to hibernate.
In tonight's Fox Health Watch, new reports of Americans being heavier than ever have health experts worried, but so do increasing rates of eating disorders and constant reports of negative body image among young women. Janine Sherrill has more.
Julie Huss is stirring up some food for thought. Huss is a former model who's written a novel examining the close and often bizarre relationship women have with food.
Usually you see women walking around eating like rice cakes or pretzels or something, and I think it helps them to get some sound of their own anger.
And experts fear some of that anger is directed at their own bodies. As studies indicate, negative body image is rampant and eating disorders are on the rise.
I think the problems are even earlier than teenagers. More eating disorders clinics are reporting that they're having young girls 8, 9, 10 years old being hospitalized for...
Sherry Erdman is the author of Nothing to Lose, a guide to living sane in a large body. She says women need to change the way they look at their bodies.
The question is more, how do we get fat people thin versus how do we make fat people healthier?
The media have long been blamed for constantly pushing images of thin women, and that's not likely to change.
I wouldn't change anything about the way women are portrayed in pictures or in advertising.
You know, everyone's fighting those last 10 pounds. Even people that shouldn't be still are. And it's just crazy. And I think women are waiting for women role models to say, you know something, I'm done with this. I'm sick of this. I'm not doing this anymore. You know, and I think we should be the first to start by eating a big stick of butter.
Janine Sherrill, CNN, New York.
Well, tonight's Focus on Fox is next.
Some food for thought about Utah's less than spick and span restaurant image. That's coming up.
It's February, and our 48-hour sale just might perk up your winter routine. This Saturday and Sunday only, save 20 to 40% on everything, from sofas to bedrooms, dining rooms to mattresses. You'll find great name brands like Stanley, Broyhill, Sealy, and more. Plus, get 0% finance charge for 6 months. No money down, no payments till August. So brighten up your February at the 48-hour sale, the Home Life Furniture store from Sears. It's everything you need to bring your home to life.
Oh yeah, I'm a Grand Prix kind of guy.
I just hate it when we have to hurry.
Who's she kidding? She's just itching to fire up our new Grand Prix and book.
When you get big and right up front, you'll really appreciate the dual airbags.
Come on, Mom, this is a Pontiac. I heard her telling Dad how much punch that V6 had. You want to drive?
And since we saved more than $1,000 over the tours, we started our college nest egg.
Look, freeway, 1 mile.
We'll have to take the freeway after all.
Driving excitement, Pontiac.
Yeah!
Now's your chance to win ski lessons for the entire family. For more details, watch the Fox Ski Clinic Sunday nights at 9:30 on the Fox Sports page.
On tonight's Focus on Fox, eating at some local restaurants could make you sick, literally. Utah has one of the highest rates in the nation of foodborne illness. This week, we've seen yet another outbreak. In a Fox News investigation, Matt Hansen reveals the dirty little secrets restaurants don't want you to know.
We all love a night out on the town, eating at our favorite restaurant, having someone else serve us. But are you sharing your plate with some uninvited guests? These are examples of what we found going through hundreds of health inspection reports. You might think this training video from the Department of Agriculture exaggerates. Well, think again.
You're not going to close me down just because one person got sick.
People are getting sick in Utah. The hepatitis rate here is 5 times the national average.
Hi. How you doing? I'm from the health department. I'm just here to do your routine inspection. From some of the restaurants I go into every day, yes, I'm really surprised that more people don't end up with foodborne illness.
The restaurant she's inspecting today does a great job. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't have let our camera follow along.
If you pour soda pop out in the back, they can tell. And that just by the stains on the asphalt and different areas what you do. And they can tell if you basically tell them the truth or lying to them.
And inspectors could easily tell this Mexican restaurant was doing a horrible job last December. In fact, it was shut down because it was such a health risk. The report says no employee in this establishment has any knowledge of basic food safety or proper personal hygiene. Because of a severe cockroach infestation and other imminent health hazards, the El Chaparral had to be shut down. When the health department shuts down a restaurant, usually they're able to get things squared away within a couple days. But sometimes they can't ever get things squared away. Apparently what happened to this Chinese restaurant on 21st South, they were shut down in September, never to be reopened. Soon it's going to be a video store. The inspection report is overflowing with violations. Most importantly, no soap or towels at the hand sink, and food temperatures in what is called the danger zone, 45 to 140 degrees.
Personal hygiene and food temperatures are the most important things I look for when I'm in an establishment.
Those are critical areas where bacteria spreads. Problems the El Chaparral had. It was able to reopen, but just this week shut down again. This time because there's not enough business to pay the bills.
Just to make sure I don't see any rodent droppings, no cockroaches.
The county health department has 9 inspectors for more than 3,000 food service establishments. A big job, so it's up to you to be observant.
The public is our best weapon against, some of those bad places.
You can call in complaints. We found one complaint of a bloody Band-Aid in a potato. But when inspectors checked, no one in the kitchen even had a cut. Unfortunately, false reports get called in, but legitimate complaints are always encouraged. It just might keep you and a lot of other people from getting sick. In Salt Lake, Matt Hansen, Fox 13 News.
Inspectors say you can usually tell how bad a restaurant is when you first walk in the door. We looked for the bad stuff and found it. But the majority of restaurants in Utah do a good job. Monday night, Matt will show you a few that do a great job.
And speaking of doing a great job, some people in Brazil claim pop star Michael Jackson is doing a great job of wrecking their image. Details as Bob Schuldmeier checks out more of Our World in a Minute.
A 20-foot deep sinkhole opens in Washington state just as an 85-year-old man was driving over it. He crashes to the bottom, dying almost instantly. In Sarajevo, Britain's Prince Charles says he's horrified by the scope of damage in the Bosnian capital. His visit is aimed at supporting NATO peacekeepers. Dog lovers demonstrate in downtown Buenos Aires. They're demanding Argentina stop using a gas chamber to kill stray and unwanted dogs. Two awful Aussie dog abusers learning what it's like to be cooped up in a small space. The women are in jail after being arrested for having over 100 puppies trapped in a small 2-bedroom apartment. Yellowstone National Park's wolf pack getting bigger. 11 wolves from Canada being added to the 14 set free in the park last winter. The welcome mat isn't out for Michael Jackson in Rio de Janeiro. City officials claim Jackson's going to devastate Rio's image by using a slum area as the backdrop for a new music video. Explosions and shooting ring through Los Angeles. Thankfully, all the hubbub's being staged for a new movie called Riot. And finally, you may think a dog's man's best friend, but for an Australian fitness fanatic, his kangaroo is his best friend and keeps him jumping on his workouts. And that's World in a Minute.
There's a good jogging companion.
Well, you could afford one. It's got to be expensive.
Anybody give you trouble, you'll box them, you know?
2 of the best in women's basketball square off.
And the NFL makes a deal with the city of Cleveland. Rungy time is next.
Sunday. Is this the end of Krusty the Clown?
Nothing to see here. Shows. Oh, my God!
Sunday at 7, first on Fox 13.
Saturday, learn how to make millions.
Yes! Yes!
At the Jim Carrey School of Acting.
Oh, righty then! Oh, righty then!
And is it a conspiracy or a spoof of TV's coolest drama?
Ooh, aliens, it's scary.
Saturday at 10 on Fox 13.
Treat yourself to style, comfort, and savings this weekend at Granite Furniture. Get our sweet deal on this 5-piece oak dining set, sale priced at $3.99, and this 5-piece country oak set just $5.99. Plus, you'll receive this plush, cuddly Valentine's pair free with your purchase of $99 or more. Get a sizzling deal on this RCA 13-inch color TV, just $147, and an RCA 4-head hi-fi VCR, only $227 after rebate. The Sweet On Savings Sale is happening now at Granite Furniture.
Nobody does it exactly like Hertz, when it's got to be someone who thinks of you first.
Hertz Car Sales announces our fleet reduction sale now through February. Get Hertz authorized sale prices on our biggest inventory ever and buy with no money down and no payments until May. Nobody does it like Hertz, with great selection, sale prices, and low rate financing or low payment leasing.
Nobody does it exactly like Hertz.
Tonight's sports is brought to you by Peppercorn, the steakhouse with variety.
Good evening, madam. Are you ready to order?
Oh, yes. I would like the filet mignon.
Excellent choice, madam.
No. The poached salmon. Yes, that is what I want.
Very good, madam.
Oh, wait. Could I change that to the fettuccine alfredo?
Fettuccine alfredo.
No, 3 pepper chicken.
Pepper chicken.
No, maybe the halibut. That's it, the halibut.
And for your dessert?
Oh, bananas flambe. No. How about the New York cheesecake?
The Peppercorn. It's more than just a great place for steak.
Maybe I'll visit the gourmet chocolate bar. Oh.
It's Rungy time!
By a 25-2 vote, the National Football League has approved the move of the Cleveland franchise to Baltimore for the '96 season. However, the team's nickname, colors, and tradition will stay in Cleveland. The NFL will provide Cleveland with either an expansion franchise or an existing franchise by the 1999 season. Did you get all that down? All sides are calling the agreement a win-win situation.
What we and they, along with Mayor White, have accomplished, as I say, is a historic agreement. It is a global settlement. It is a win-win for everybody, most importantly for the fans who will be able to cheer for NFL teams. In Cleveland, it'll be the Browns. In Baltimore, it'll be a resumed first-class NFL franchise under the direction of Art Modell.
This is a good and fair settlement. It is a settlement that achieves our goals. It keeps our team in Cleveland. It keeps our name in Cleveland. It keeps our colors in Cleveland. I think, as the commissioner has already said, it also keeps our football heritage in Cleveland.
I don't fault the fans for feeling the way they did. I have a different thought about the media that fed the frenzy, and some thoughts of my own private thoughts about the politicians that fed the passions of hate and vilification. That's history. I'm looking ahead, not back. I feel sorry for those fans, but I'm delighted to know that the Cleveland Browns will remain there. Their team will play again and play in a stadium worthy.